Parameters, variables, and fields. Programs contain a network of classes, and within each one there can be any number of methods that perform the behaviors of the class. As we learned, variables declared within a method are unique to that one method and nowhere else. Remember scope? We also learned that methods can pass variables between themselves, allowing methods to share data. A variable passed to a method is called a parameter. Classes can communicate with other classes by calling their methods and passing parameters. But one problem remains. Since the variables disappear when the method ends, how does a class remember what is changed? A field is very similar to a variable, but with one big difference: its scope. A field is declared and sometimes initialized within a class, but outside of any method. This means that the scope of a field is the entire class, and it can be used anywhere in it, including a main method, if it's in the driver class, as well as any other user-defined method. When a method changes a field, the field retains its new value even when the method ends. Methods within a class can all share the same field without having to pass it around like a hot potato. If there is a local variable with the same name as an instance variable, the variable name will refer to the local variable instead of the instance variable. A field is declared at the beginning of a class and stores the current state of the class. In the example below, the variable sum can be used inside of the main method or the calcsum method to store information. So here we have public class test, we have our field, private static int sum equals 0, and now we can access this variable sum in this method, anywhere else in the class. Notice that sum is outside of both methods, yet both are able to work with it. So we have our field variable sum here, and then in our main method we print sum, and down here in our calcsum method we change the value of sum. While parameters are used in a method, arguments are the values passed to those parameters. When an argument is of a primitive data type, the parameter is initialized with a copy of that value. Changes to the parameter have no effect on the corresponding argument. When an argument is a reference to an object, the parameter is initialized with a copy of that reference, not a copy of the object. If the reference is to a mutable object, the method or constructor can use this reference to alter the state of the object. It is good programming practice to not modify mutable objects that are passed as parameters unless required in the specification. Note, arguments are also called actual parameters, while parameters in a method declaration are also called formal parameters.